Hi everyone, welcome back to Wrestling Fun with Father and Son. I'm Father Matt, and this is Son.
Hi.
And this is the week's WWE. This is Raw. Yeah, like I say, this is Raw, but before we get into it, I'd like to say a big thank you to our subscribers, Kai. When I looked on the channel earlier, our subscriber base is up to now 20, which is a milestone, our next milestone. So thank you for everyone that's subscribed. I think we'll set the next milestone, which I'm going to go for a bigger one. It's going to be 50. And I think we'll do probably a year on the channel. So a year is about March time next year. So I think we can attain another 30 subscribers, possibly more. So let's get into it. Raw, the 8th of the 7th, 2019. Started off with a mixed elimination tag team match. Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch versus Baron Corbin. No, sorry, it isn't Baron Corbin, is it? It's versus Selena Vega and Andrade. Yep. Obviously, saying at the weekend, Extreme Rules, it'll be Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch versus Lacey Evans and Baron Corbin. That's where I'm getting mixed up, you see, Kai. Not much to it. Selena Vega was the first one eliminated by Becky Lynch. That Lacey Evans was at ringside. That proceeded to have a little bit of a brawl with her and Becky Lynch, and then Seth Rollins basically beat Andrade, and so them two come out of that match strong. They were celebrating on the ramp, holding up the championships, only for Baron Corbin and then Lacey Evans to attack them on the stage. And that was kind of how they ended. So they got the sort of the upper hand as it were going into that match. Next, or so to say, at the end of that sort of sequence, as they're sort of brawling, Paul Heyman comes out and walks down to the ring, does a promo about how Brock Lesnar may cash in, might not. Same sort of promo as what he's done previously. Obviously, we know that Paul Heyman is executive director of the show, possibly full time from after Extreme Rules. We don't really know at the minute whether he's having a hand in these shows or not. Obviously last week was quite explosive, wasn't it, with Bobby Lashley and Strowman. Obviously we don't know how much Paul Heyman had in that show, so you know, he might have a lot of control, he might not. Anyway, next it was a 2 out of 3 falls. It was Miz and the Usos versus Elias and the Revival. And just to say that in our predictions video, which we did, Extreme Rules, we predicted that the Usos and the Revival would have a match for the Raw Tag Team Championships. That match has actually been official, according to the WWE website. That is actually happening, so we got that one right. Again, not much. They're doing these 2 out of 3 falls. It didn't really do anything, to be honest. The Revival got the first fall on the Usos. Elias left after a brawl with The Miz, left the team. So it was like kind of a handicap match. And then obviously The Miz and the Usos went and ended up winning the match with the Skull Crushing finale. Was The Miz done get that full level, and then Jay done the splash on, I think it was the Revival, to get the win. So not much happened. Next, Drake Maverick was backstage with his wife. Obviously, they were saying about the honeymoon. They had a nice little video, which was quite funny, of him with the belt. There's a nice picture, which we'll put up in the corner of the Instagram, where he's on a honeymoon with his wife. They're both standing next to each other, and he's holding the belt up like this in front of her face, which I thought was quite funny. And then they went to live backstage. His wife was there. He was in a crate hiding. He said he was going to take her on a real honeymoon, and then the jobbers came, and so he ran off. Next, a couple of sequences through the night. Shane and Drew trying to find someone to be Roman Reigns' tag team partner. They approached a concessions guy and a janitor later on and offered him £5,000 to be Roman Reigns' partner, which he accepted. So that will filter into the main event. And they also said they'd get him a mask. That's also very important as well. Next, it was Rey Mysterio come back from injury. Said he defied all doctors' expectations, and he got back within 6 weeks to issue an open challenge. And who was the open challenge answered by?
Bobby Lashley.
Yeah, Bobby Lashley obviously went through the stage last week. I think it was a bit too quick to get Bobby Lashley back, especially when they're saying Strowman had a ruptured spleen and fractures. I think it was a bit too quick. Anyway, it wasn't a quick match. Rey Mysterio got absolutely destroyed by Lashley, and then after the match he got destroyed. It looked like he was going to throw Rey Mysterio through the stage, only for 3 referees to come out and catch him, and then he got a microphone and said that he'd be the last man standing when he faces Strowman this weekend. So that has been announced now. It is Bobby Lashley versus Strowman, last man standing. We did say in the Extreme Rules predictions that they might make some other matches, we predict them as we're going on. So who do you think is going to win out of Bobby Lashley and Braun Strowman at the last man standing?
Braun.
You think Braun? Yeah, I think Braun Strowman might beat him as well. So yep, that's our prediction for that. Next, it was No Way Jose versus Cesaro. Again, another quick squash match. Cesaro won with a sharpshooter. Doesn't really do anything really. Next, we had a couple of promos with the Street Profits, publicising the network and Extreme Rules. Obviously, they were on last week, they're on this week. Not really much to that either. Next, we had what I'm calling the rubbish Raw. I can't think of Raw's Rubbish. I think Raw's Rubbish is a good name. It was Maria Kanellis and Mike Kanellis. She was saying about some cravens. Obviously, last week she announced she was pregnant. I honestly think this is Vince trying to just dump on them because they announced she was pregnant after they signed a contract, and I don't think the WWE were quite happy about that, to be honest. But just the writing's terrible. She was saying about she wanted ice cream and pickles as a craven, so he went off to go and get them. And then later on, he came back. She berated him, had a go at him, and said, you know, he'd never impregnate her again. Just Raw's rubbish. It really, really was. It's just a rubbish sequence. Next we had R-Truth looking for Drake Maverick and crates and that, only for then Drake Maverick to appear, followed by the Jobbers. And then R-Truth ran the other way, carrying Carmella. That is what happened in that bit. Next it was a Viking Raiders versus 2 Jobbers. The Viking Raiders...
Actually, R-Truth was carrying a ref.
No, that was later on. That was later on.
Oh.
No, he was carrying Carmella at this point. I think he was carrying her. I think she jumped on his back and he ran out. So yeah, Viking Raiders versus 2 Jobbers. Not much to the match. Quick squash, to be honest. Only for then the Jobbers and Drake Maverick to appear through the crowd with R-Truth. And then again they escape through the crowd. Again, the 24/7 championship this week hasn't been that great, to be honest. I've got to admit, it wasn't featured on SmackDown, but you know, hopefully it'll get better. It's had some really good moments. This was not so much good moments, but you know, it was what it is. Next we had Ricochet versus Gallows. He did a quick promo saying that he would take on all 3 of them if he had to. Gallows had Anderson and AJ Styles at ringside, didn't he, as well? And Ricochet basically got the win. AJ Styles did a quick promo saying, hang on, you said you were going to beat all 3 of us. That's what you're going to have to do, because you're going to have to face Anderson. And that's what happened after the commercial break. Ricochet again won, so he beat Gallows and Anderson. And then AJ Styles attacked him with the club after the match. And then they made AJ Styles versus Ricochet for the United States Championship. Don't think that was in our predictions. So now, who do you think is going to win that?
Ricochet.
You think Ricochet is going to retain? I think Ricochet is going to retain as well. Then next, it was that sequence we were saying about Drake Maverick. Again, Drake Maverick was sort of caught up to his wife, who he'd left on the crate earlier on, only for R-Truth and Carmella to appear with a referee out of 2 crates. And then Drake Maverick sort of runs away, and then that's when you say about R-Truth then got the ref on his back and chased after him with Carmella in tow. So
it's quite funny though.
Yeah, it was quite funny, yeah. Next it was Bayley versus Sarah Logan in a Beat the Clock challenge. Bayley won in 4 minutes and 32 seconds, and Nikki Cross came out. And she was against Dana Brooke, and basically she had to beat Dana Brooke in that time, and then she would be able to announce a stipulation for that Bayley versus Alexa match at Extreme Rules. Nikki Cross did beat the time, so she named a stipulation which was now going to be a 2-on-1 handicap match. But again, still Bayley's trying to convince her that she's being played by Alexa. Then Bayley went and slapped Nikki Cross across the face, and then did a Bayley to belly to finish. So she kind of been a bit heelish there, I thought. It was quite funny. While that sequence was happening, Corey Graves actually came off the commentary desk and said he was going to go and put the hard questions to Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch about what happened earlier on. Then basically Corey went and interviewed Becky and Seth about that, and didn't really get anywhere. It just seems that he's kind of wind them up. I don't really understand that, but you know, that was what it was. And then we get to the main event. Roman Reigns and his mystery tag partner, which was the Janitor, versus Shane and Drew. I've seen a lot of talk about this being one of the worst main events in Raw history. I've got to admit, this sequence wasn't very good. You came out, this guy who we thought was the Janitor came out, Gary Garber, or Gary the Goat Garber, the greatest of all time Garber, come out with a limp, tagged himself in from Roman Reigns, started doing some high flying spots and that, only to get claymored by Drew McIntyre and got the win. So Shane and Drew got the win, and it was then revealed that Cedric Alexander was the Janitor. So in my opinion, I don't understand what this achieved. It would have been a lot different if Roman and Cedric had won, and then it would have been like a sort of screw you to Shane and Drew, you know. But I don't see what it achieved. It didn't achieve a lot. It was a poor end, especially when it's a go-home show before Extreme Rules. It would have been better if they'd have flipped this. So this could have been sort of halfway through the show maybe, and they could have had that Seth Rollins angle at the end, that with then going home with them two standing tall, or Baron Corbin and Lacey Evans standing tall as well, going into Extreme Rules. It is what it is, and Raw went from being sort of above average last week to being really poor this week. Hopefully after Extreme Rules, the rumour is Paul Heyman's going to get control, so we'll see what happens there. But we'll have a look and see if Vince still micromanages it. It's going to be poor. So yeah, like I say, that was just a quick Raw review. If you like this video, please like, comment and subscribe. Let's get to them 50 subscribers now, Kai. And we'll see you in the next video, which will be the week that was WWE SmackDown. So I'll say goodbye, and say goodbye, Kai.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.